Good evening, everybody. Welcome on a Tuesday night. Or so what's been happening, episode 174. We've had a little break for a while, which has been great, renewing and recharging the batteries, but by no means not out looking at gigs. Set myself a challenge, turned 50 on the 23rd of May, and set myself a challenge to do something a little bit different, not necessarily have a 50th birthday as such, but almost have 50 of them, because what I'm doing is out seeing 50 gigs. So 50 bands. If I originally started with 50 gigs, I thought that's going to be way too hard to pull off in 30 days in May. So we're going with 50 bands, and we're already up to band 15 or 16 now, and we're starting to catch up, because I got to about band 10 by about 4 days into May, and then we've had a bit of a layoff. So we need to get back out there. So what we're going to do is I'm just going to mention a couple of gigs coming up in the next few days and see if some of these will float your boat. Most importantly, a couple coming up right now this week. Lemonheads. It's fantastic to have these guys back in Australia, Evan Dando. So it's very close to sell. Well, sold out 2 shows, about to sell out the third at the Croxton on this Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday night. So there's plenty on there. And then another option is Hannah and Jesse Lee's has a residency at Merry Creek Tavern. This week is with Norwood. Last week was with Freya Josephine Holick. So make sure you check these ones out. What else we got? We're Living End sellout show at the Corner, which is one of the dearer tickets I've ever seen at the Corner. Almost $100 for one of those tickets at the Corner Hotel, which is awesome to see. But then again, Living End played a free gig that was packed at the Punters during the week. So they're doing plenty for Australian music out there representing. Ben Mastwick and the Energy, which is a new lineup at the Barton Fink. That's on Thursday as well. And then we start to move into Friday, which is a really exciting one. Xani's got an album launch with Alana Stone and a new just been announced with Jess Hitchcock. So that will be fantastic. That kicks off Friday the 16th of May. But this is all about Xani tonight, but we'll just touch on a couple of extra gigs that are coming up just in case you've already had tickets or booked tickets. But make sure if you haven't got a ticket, please jump on Northcote Social Club and look after and get yourself a ticket here. Skyscraper Stand's also doing a gig at the Nightcat, which is going to be pumping along. Freya Josephine Holick and Ben Salter at that one as well. We move into, we're still into Friday, Helsinki and the Choir Coachman. This is at George Lane. Here's one for you, Bat Piss. If you don't know Bat Piss, make sure you check them out. They're doing some great things as well. There's a few on this lineup, the Myths and Screensaver as well. Something different. Thando's doing one of her last gigs for a little while, I'm led to believe, at the Chapel off Chapel, so very close to sold out, that one. We move on to Saturday Arvo. That was a Saturday gig as well. Saturday Arvo, Joe Mears and the Silver Bullets with Sand Pebbles, Brunswick Ballroom. That's a matinee show. And what else we got? The Modfathers, for all big fans of The Who, The Clash, Elvis Costello, The Specials. This will be a killer down at George Lane, Saturday night. Sunday Arvo, Mark Sinton's doing a gig at the Merry Bar in Preston. That's a little late Arvo gig. And then to round out your Sunday, off to Steve Hoy and the Subliminals is a rescheduled gig at the Drunken Poet. So plenty to do, you might say. Please get out there and support local music and come and join me on one of the 50 bands in the month of May. But tonight, it's all about Xani. So let's bring her up and let's have a chat about what's going on in her life right now. Welcome.
Hello. Thank you so much. Thanks for having me. That is an incredible gig guide out there, isn't it? We're so lucky.
It is. There's a lot going on and that's just in the kind of mid areas of Melbourne. It's great to see.
Awesome.
All right, tonight it's all about you, which is really exciting. And it should always be about you, especially when you've got an album launch coming. Really exciting time to put music out, finally put the next little baby and verse of your chapter out there into the world.
That's right. Yeah, it's been, I wrote these songs in December of 2023. So they've been sitting with me for quite a while, and so I'm really excited to get them out into the world and let them go free.
Very much so. And one of the quotes that I got sent through from yourself in your extensive bio, I might say, beautifully done and very well summarized into 200, 300, 400 word versions. Perfect. Absolute
Great.
perfect for media. So well done. But this one's from a great show favorite, Tim Rogers. And I can't put this any better if I tried. And there's multiple quotes here, but one says, Xani is the first musician I think of when needing a collaborator. She has a deft, romantic touch that can transform into thrilling chaos on the turn of a heel. Beautifully said, Mr. Tim Rogers. That must be nice too. Nice to hear.
Yeah, no, I am very lucky to have had some really great supporters of my music over the years. So yeah, I never take it for granted.
It's been a extensive journey so far. You've put plenty of music out, that's for sure.
That is for sure. I know. I was just looking at my APRA membership the other day, which is where we go to register all our songs as musicians so we can get royalties. And I was just flicking through them and I was like, gosh, I have written so many songs. There's songs on there I don't even remember how they go.
So you don't do requests?
Yeah, I'm not doing that one, that's for sure.
Yeah, fair enough. But yeah, some live recordings in amongst this as well, which is really exciting. But I first want to touch on let's flash back to Xani as a little girl growing up. What's your first memory of music in the house? What was playing and how did you hear it?
Well, I guess my first memories of music, I grew up in a household with no musicians. So it was new to all of us when I decided to pick up the violin. But I reckon the first things would have been certain lullabies. There was this one cassette I used to play over and over, and it was a little cutesy song about counting sheep. And I can remember all the lyrics and the melody to this day. And that used to, help me to go to sleep. I haven't ever really been a great sleeper. So music used to help me in times of insomnia, but also in times when I was sick. Yeah.
One thing music does, it crosses any area of your life and any moment you're in. There's a song or there's a band or a memory that comes from that, and that's the incredible part. And you put it with a movie or some visuals, and that's where the magic really happens. And that's when the magic happens from your music, I believe, Xani, because you can listen to it and then you can see it and see it happen with you, and that's the amazing part for me.
Thank you.
Not only the loose, but the multi-talent that you are. The violin, why the violin for you? Where did that start?
Yeah, so when I was in prep, there were a few girls in my class who were learning the violin, and I don't 100% remember this story, but Mum says that I came home from school and said, I want to learn the violin. And Mum, my parents, no one being musical, they just thought it was a little passing trend. And so they didn't really push it or think too much of it. So they just left it. But then I just kept asking each year. And then by the time I got to grade 2, so I was 6, I just was still asking to play the violin. And I don't know why that was, because I can't remember. But as soon as I got it, I was very excited about what music could do. And it was a bit frustrating for a while because the Suzuki method, which is the method I learned violin on, you have to learn on a box violin first, which is an instrument you make out of cardboard boxes. So that was I was like, I want to learn the violin, and then I just get given this box. And then eventually you upgrade to an actual violin. And I remember learning Twinkle Little Star. That was my first song. And I just could not stop playing anything. I would just make up little melodies. So I was already kind of using my ears and improvising, even when I was starting out.
Yeah, so I think we should touch on and just give us a little flavor of who you are, because it's really important to kind of set the scene now and hear a bit of the music that you play. So I've just got a little video queued up here that was courtesy of Fight Night Records. This is one you recorded not that long ago, but we're just going to play a little bit of, it happens to be title track of the new album.
Sweet.
Here it is. Wow. Simply incredible. If anyone likes a solo, you are talking to the solo queen here. Any instrument sings and can do some incredible things, but you combine pedals and loops, and it just doesn't almost sound like a violin anymore. There's some incredible moments in amongst what you do. Xani, just tell us a little bit about how this world got so swept up from a girl that just plays violin and sings a little into this Hendrix-esque version of violin. Tell me a little bit about it.
Yeah, I think that so my mum, she's very artistic. So she was a really visual artist for a little while. She wrote some plays, she wrote some children's books. She has done sculpture. She's a very creative visual person, and she's really good at being quite conceptual and thinking in abstract terms. So when I started learning the violin, I was learning classical violin, which is the way that most violinists start learning in the traditional kind of curriculum. But she put it to me. She was like, I reckon we should go out and find some other ways that the violin is played. Let's go and see what's outside the box. So she would take me to the Geelong Celtic Festival, where I fell in love with a violinist called Martin Hayes. He's Irish, and he plays beautiful Celtic music and improvises and modernizes traditional Irish tunes. And then she bought some records, some Stéphane Grappelli records, who was a French jazz violinist. And I would listen to them over and over and try to learn them. And then she also would take me to like some Manouche jazz gigs. So I was watching like these, Romani violinists playing violin in a very non-classical way. So I guess while I was learning, I was also subjected to various diverse styles of violin playing. So I kind of knew that my career would be about pushing the boundaries of this instrument. And so when I was in about year 9 at school, I decided that I didn't want to pursue classical violin, that I wanted to go and study jazz and improvisation at the Victorian College of the Arts. So I spent my last years in high school learning from a jazz violinist, Nigel McLean. And then I was also performing in an ensemble at school, which was called the Latin Strings, and the music was all Astor Piazzolla music. I don't know if you know who Astor Piazzolla is, but he was an Argentinian bandoneon player and composer, and he would often write this music with like chopping and hitting the instruments, strings and piano, and then big elaborate improv solos in the middle of it. So I was put into this ensemble, and most of the string players could only read what was written, but I finally had found my place where I could do improvised solos. So I think all of that kind of came together, along with my love of kind of eccentric pop music. Like I really loved Björk back then. All of that kind of came together to give me this real sense of wanting to explore what could be quite different with the violin, or also using the violin as if there are no limitations. So if I wanted to put some bass, rather than going and learning the bass, how could I make the violin sound like a bass? I just really wanted to free myself and free the instrument from any of its stereotypes.
Sure. Thanks for all of that. And just tell me a little bit about this new album now. I believe it's a little bit different for you as far as the way it was written, what you discovered in amongst the terrible time that lockdown was. There was a little bit of magic that you discovered with Kraftwerk. Just tell us a little bit about the style or the genre, and then who those influences were that have now pushed into this album for you.
Yeah, so I guess this the tiny little kernels of this album did start in lockdown, when I was live streaming on Twitch twice a week. I must say your production values are incredible. I never got to that level on my online channel, but yeah, every week I would find a different electronic dance music genre throughout history to be inspired by, including disco, acid, house, UK garage, and I spent a month listening to Kraftwerk and fell in love. And then that really was the catalyst for me putting out an album in 2023 called An Inaccurate History of Electronic Dance Music. And it was quite upbeat. We'd just been in lockdowns. I wanted everyone to be quite happy and get back onto dance floors, which had been banned. And the one track on there that was inspired by Kraftwerk kind of sat with me as something that I quite loved. And then I was just driving home one day, and on the radio came Vitamin C by Can. And I was instantly floored. I was like, this is incredible. So I started really researching Can and getting into it, and discovered that they were a krautrock band around the same time as Kraftwerk, and the ties with that scene. And once I had found Can, it was like a little light bulb moment for me, because as an artist, I love songs, but I also love lots of room for soloing and shredding, as you can see from that video. And I love jazz and improv. So it was like I'd finally found this place that I could fit and explore my craft. So this album, it actually ended up being written on an acoustic guitar. I had been teaching myself guitar for 2 months at the end of 2023. And I just decided to write all these songs inspired by Can and krautrock, but only on the guitar. So then the challenge came to put it onto violin. And part of the aesthetic that I love about krautrock is that it's very raw and very true and very authentic, and about searching for identity. And so I wanted to capture all of those songs in their rawest form. So actually I recorded the album here in this room. My husband had been getting into recording and mixing, so he recorded it, and there's just violin and drums on this album. And I'm using my loop station live for the takes, which in the past I had always built up the layers separately.
That's the layering part is the most incredible part for me. It just builds and builds and builds into this world of absolute psych chaos by the end of one of your sets. And I'm just going to touch on one of those little videos that I found as well, that you did a little improv session at Fight Night Records as well. This song, I think, was called Motor, if I correct.
Oh yeah, there's no
I'll
loops
just,
on this one actually. This is all free.
so I'll just play a little bit of this because we'll just play a minute or so and you'll see a little bit of the madness. Here we go. Here it is. Magic. Violin in its purest form, really there. You're right. No loops, just the beautiful extension of some toes, nudging a couple of dials here and there. Bare feet. Is that always your gig on stage?
Oh, hello, you there? I'm here.
Yes.
Sorry, I think it's
I got you back.
Yeah.
Yep. I just wanted to touch on like bare feet on stage. Is that your little grounding mode, or is that you find it's easier to do those little slight tweaks and nuances that you do that we kind of touched on and saw in one of those clips there?
Yeah, well, firstly, it is actually practical that I can't turn the knobs without no shoes or socks on. But I could set up some multi-effects units with MIDI and triggering and all this kind of stuff, but I like to be able to change things all the time on the go. So having the old school pedals there and being able to manipulate on the fly is very important to me. But also I do prefer performing without shoes as well for the grounding thing. So it's actually worked out well that I have an excuse to get on stage with bare feet.
Yeah, it's an incredible moment. I think you cover so many just little parts of jazz, and I can just see so many other influences in amongst that. But Keep Moving. It's an incredible title. It's a simple title, but so's your name. 4 letters of magic. That have you ever come across another Xani?
Well, I have actually met a Xan, Xan, and so Xani is my name. It always has been, but it's actually it's short for Alexandra, and so I met an Alexander who had it abbreviated to Xan. But yeah, there's not many of us out there, but there are more.
Yeah, and Keep Moving. Where did the title come from? What was the inspiration to make it from a track, I guess, into the album title?
Yeah, it was really tricky because when I was writing these songs, I'm quite a fan of a concept album. So I always go into a new writing period with an umbrella term and an idea for the concept album, and then write the songs to fit the title. And originally I had picked the umbrella title, A Guide to Getting Through This, because I had found that in my life, as I've been getting older, I have been dodging more and more curveballs as we get older and have to face more and more hardships, things that are out of our control. And I just thought, well, if I write little songs that are like little tiny guides to help me get through these things, that would be really awesome. But as I was writing, I noticed that the songs would pose more questions than answers. They were more just like little mini therapies, a chance for me to reflect on what's going on rather than solving anything. And it's something that comes up a lot, especially in my psychology sessions. But I think for a lot of people is that fix-it mentality, that some things just can't be fixed. And so the title no longer felt right. But I did notice that Keep Moving, that song is about when faced with especially like grief or the death of someone you love, you kind of have to have a finite amount of time to mourn them, and then you have to keep moving. You have to get back on the treadmill of life. And there are other cultures on this planet where the mourning process is far longer, and I wish that we could have that. So Keep Moving was a kind of a title of like, it's something that is demanded of us, but it's also something that at the end of the day, it's all we can do. We've just got to keep moving.
Yeah, that's one thing we don't have a choice, do we? We can't sit in the present, even though we want to be in the present a lot of the time, and we can't definitely sit in the past, and we never know what the future is really going to bring. So keep moving. We just got to all do it together. So the beautiful, inspired title. Just talk to me a little bit about the impro side of things. Does it?
Yes.
Yeah. Where does it kind of move and feel for you on stage? Does it change much in between gigs and settings and the feel of what you've got, or is the base of the song or the track pretty much it, and then there's sections you impro in?
So it depends on the gig. So for my album launch, for example, it's more of things are pretty arranged with sections to go off and solo in, which is actually probably quite different to what I usually do, because a lot of my gigs include at least in a set 2 to 3 completely improvised pieces of music that are made up on the spot. It's the thing that keeps me going. I like that challenge. And sometimes it bombs, sometimes it goes really well, and often I don't record it. So I don't have a copy of something that's gone really well. And it's also the thing that I love to do most. So yeah, it's a combo. Sometimes there's more, but when I'm doing this tour at the moment, I am doing different combos. So like I'm doing a couple of shows with the trio, and then the rest of the shows are solo. So each of those shows are arranged differently, but yeah, most of the song structures are set.
Perfect. And what can we expect on Friday the 16th? Some magic in the room for sure on that night.
I can't believe this is the lineup. I'm actually going to be loving to go to this gig. Jess Hitchcock is going to be playing with Christian Barbieri on guitar, and her songs are so heartfelt, so beautiful. She's an incredible singer. And then I have been touring with Alana Stone, and she's an incredible musician, and her songs are so, like, they stay in my head for days. They're amazing. But also she is an incredible performer. I've learned so much watching her perform. She is very personable, very charismatic, and she will just make you smile. And then for my set, I have the trio. So I have Justin Olsen on drums, and then I've got my little sister who does all my artwork. Actually, she's a fashion designer, illustrator, artist, but she can also play bass. And so she's going to be joining on electric bass for the night. And then we'll have Christian will jump up and play a song with me, a little love song that I have on the album. And then Alana will come up and join us for a special finale.
That is always a beautiful touch when you see artists and in parts of the lineup all getting together and doing something incredibly unique and special when they're all together. I saw you and Alana both perform at Brunswick Ballroom on a matinee gig not that long ago. For I think it might have been Alana's album launch that she was just releasing. And the title Married to the Sound was very much that afternoon with Zoe Fox leading things off, I remember. And I actually just went there to see Zoe, believe it or not. And I'd seen you plenty of times, but it was great to have you in amongst that set as well. I didn't actually know you were getting up and performing with Alana at the time. And then the Alana show was just epic. If you haven't seen Alana before, please get out and see Alana Stone. It's Kylie-esque for me, but there's such magic in her show. There's some Elton in there, and I think just her influences are incredible. So you're the gun for hire, Xani, absolutely, in the violin world. But also, if you ever want a bit of spark, I also saw you perform at an album launch with Karen Fields at Northcote Social Club. That was a really special little moment. And you've performed in multiple lineups that I've seen in amongst the way. So firstly, I apologize for me taking to show 174 to reach out to you and get you on my show to have a chat. But thank you so much for your time tonight. It's a beautiful time to get you on the show, releasing music. This is the tour coming up where in the lineup, there's a couple of solo and smaller gigs in amongst this as well. So please jump on xanikolak.com. We'll put the link as well in the bio or in the details. They always say link in the bio, but that's where it'll be. And we'll put up some more details about the shows. There's some great times ahead for you, Xani Kolak. Thank you for joining me tonight on the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I am so thrilled to be here, and thanks for all of your support and for coming out and seeing live music. It means a lot to us, so thanks.
No problems. Keep being awesome. We'll see you out there soon.
Bye. Bye, everyone.
Xani Kolak, everyone. Okay, you know where you need to be Friday the 16th. I gave you options, but there's really no other option. This is the option. I want to see you at this gig. Please get along and support. Most importantly, this is a real incredible night. It's a night where music is the celebration. An incredible moment will happen at the Northcote Social Club. It always does in that band room. It's a great place to be. Most importantly, get there a bit earlier. Get a feed at the Northcote Social Club. Come early. Don't turn up late. Make sure you see Jess Hitchcock. She'll be incredible. Then Xani and Alana Stone. That's where the action really kicks off, and you'll have a great night, I promise you. And if you don't, hit me up because I'll make sure you get something else as a token gesture. But I guarantee you're going to thank me for turning up on the night. So get out there and see some music. Please come and say good day to me. It's 50 gigs or 50 bands in May is the agenda for me. So you might only see me for a fleeting moment, but I'll be in and around catching up and seeing plenty of artists in amongst the next few weeks. So look out, and we'll see you out there soon. Have a great week.